Hey guys, I'm Adrian. Welcome to this class. Essentially, what we're gonna be learning today, it's understanding the muscle limbs, understanding supination and pronation. So basically, when the arm twists, pronates, what happens underneath, which muscles are in action, what's going on under the skin. So basically, by the end of this course, you should have a basic understanding of how to tackle the arm in a neutral position, a supinated position, or a pronated position. So this course, it's not only for sculptors, or it's also for artists. If you do sketching or anything, if you just wanna, if you've been having trouble with the upper limb, not understanding the muscles, origin, and insertions, we wanna dive into Photoshop, just go to the muscle names and the origins and insertions, all the superficial muscles of the upper limb. We're gonna go through all of them, and then once we're done with the origin insertions, go through the tips and tricks into trying to figure out the muscles in a pronated position. And then after that, we're gonna open up ZBrush, and then we're gonna start sculpting in ZBrush, just basic forms, just doing just a few studies in a supinated position and in a pronated position. So without any further ado, let's start learning anatomy. I clearly wanna greet you guys. I'm Adrian. Welcome to this class. Basically, where we are going to be focusing on something that it's very hard for us artists to grasp. So for me, like to study this took a while. Back then, I quite like ignored it and like because there's like a lot of muscles going on there, and luckily today we're gonna go through all the superficial muscles of the upper arm. So by the end of this course, you should have the basic knowledge how to sculpt or draw the arm, whether it's pronated or supinated. So let me just open this picture over here in Photoshop, by the way. So as you can see, this supination, when your palms is facing upwards, and then neutral when it's like vertical, like so. And then there's pronation. This is most difficult part for us artists to try to figure out. Now about 20 muscles have turned and moved from the original positions from here, and then have twisted. All these muscles have twisted. Not like all of them, but most of them have twisted. So to figure out those forms, you need to know your origins and insertions, and you need to practice and study more, and that's how you gonna learn. But luckily, I've put together this course, a very quick course, not too quick, but probably like an hour or so. So we're gonna cover everything that you need to know how to draw or sculpt the upper limb anatomically correct. So we first gonna start in Photoshop, like first study the origins and insertions and a few sketches here and there, and then we're gonna move into ZBrush, and then probably like tackle a few projects and in 3D, because it's quite easy for us to understand when we're in 3D. So I'm also gonna, I believe we also gonna provide these assets, these slides for you guys, so you can practice also. So let's go back here. Let's start here. So I took a few screenshots from ZBrush, which it's the upper limb with all the muscles. But these are the muscles we're going to focus on today in our course. So these are the most superficial muscles which affect the skin. If there's any movement in the skin, these are most of the muscles that gonna pop up. Let me grab a quick water over here. Okay, so let's jump into. I'm gonna open a. Let's just do a quick overview here. I'm gonna open like a new layer. Just grab any color. We're gonna go through each muscle. So number one, it's quite it's a famous muscle. The triceps brachii. It has 3 heads. So there's the first head, and then the second one. So it's this muscle over here, triceps brachii, as you can see. One head, 2, and here's the third one. So this other one, the medial head inserts at the body of the scapula. So you can kind of see the origins and insertions. And here we have it over here also, our triceps. But yeah, at the back here, that's kind of popping. At the back, our triceps. So this was our triceps. And then next, we have our biceps brachii. Sorry for the spelling, I have to fix this. Let me just fix it now before I forget. So I'll have to fix these spellings if I can encounter any. Okay, so the biceps, it's biceps, so it has 2 heads. So bi, which is 2, and tri is 3. That's how you can remember them. So like if you look at the images, you can see like the origin. So the first head originates from the cortical process, and then it inserts. So the insertion and the origins are very important. So you like if you go into Google, so you can even type like upper limb muscle diagrams and stuff. There's tons of resources out there. I just created this for our course that we might like get a rough sketch of what's going on. So from cortical process to the radius bone over here, sits over here, and then from this process, and then the second end from the glenoid, and then it comes down over here, as you can see, passes through the humerus, and then inserts at the radius. So that's our biceps brachii muscles. And we'll try to move this next muscle. So we've done our biceps brachialis. So the brachialis is underneath the biceps. Here's the muscle over here, brachialis. So originates from the humerus around over here, lateral. Here's it over here again, and as you can see the origin and the insertion over here. It's very important because what happens if you flex or if you extend the arm, or if you pronate or supinate, the movement of these muscles are very important. The origins and insertions, how the forms react. We kind of gonna go through this. So then, it's very important to note the biceps, the brachialis doesn't insert at the radius as the biceps brachii, but the brachialis inserts at the ulna. So that's the trick right there. So those forms change when you pronate and supinate. So it's very good to note that. And then next we have our pronator teres. Teres means round. It's a small muscle over here. Inserting at the radius also. Some over here. And we also have it over here. And then here's it a bit. The pronator teres. So from the occipital bone or of the humerus, the condyle. The condyles over there originate some over there. The medial condyle, the humerus. Next we have our brachioradialis. This muscle. So just a quick tip. Try to analyze the names, because they kind of gonna give you a hint of the origins and insertions. So brachioradialis, so we already know the insertion. It inserts at the radius bone, so at the brachial muscle from the humerus to the radius bone. So it's this big muscle there. So my drawing is this muscle, this big guy, and you can see it this side also, and a bit this side, inserting at the radius from the humerus, probably upwards over here. And then next we have our I think it's my favorite muscle in the upper arm. I don't know, because I kind of think the name is cool. So the second one, we have the Extensor Copy Radialis longus, which is it's underneath the brachioradialis, is this muscle there. Longus because it has a long tendon. Also, you kind of know, so it extends the arm, and we kind of know the insertion by the carpal bones, and it passes through the radialis, the radius bone, and it has a long tendon. So it inserts by the carpal bones, but it's at the radius side. You can't see it from here. So insert at the back over here. That was our Extensor Copy Radialis longus. And the next we have Extensor Copy Radialis brevis. It's also underneath, a small one over here. So brevis, which is smaller. Extensor Copy Radialis brevis, same, passes through the radius and then inserts by the carpal bones. Can't see it from here. There's a small one over here. Can't see it from here. Also inserted by the carpal bones. We're just gonna fly through quickly through these. Next we have Abductor pollicis longus. Some pronounce that pollicis longus, but then I kind of learned it like that. But then whatever works for you. So it's the Abductor pollicis longus. So it abducts the arm, this muscle over here. So the tendon goes through to the thumb. So it kind of moves the thumb. There's it over here. Over here. Insertion. The origin is from here. Next we have Extensor pollicis brevis. So it's a shorter one. So we have the abductor, now it's the extensor, the small one over here. Also the tendon extends the arm. So we still want to go through the 3D model and just go walk through it and probably do a little bit of sculpting, and then we call it a day. I believe we got like a few minutes going on, probably like 30 minutes, and then we'll start ZBrush. Probably do like a quick exercise of supination and pronation. We first going through the muscle origins and insertions quickly, and then we'll study supination pronation. And then next, number 10, extensor copy or narrows again. So like the way to remember this, there's flexor muscles and then there's extensor muscles. So the extensors are the ones that extend the arm, and flexors the arms. That's quite simple. So the easy way out there, what you do, so like if you like picking up something, like if you like lifting weight and stuff, you picking up the weight towards you, like towards your face and stuff, you basically flexing the arm. So any muscles that have flexors are those muscles facing that, like in the palm side, and the extensors are on the other side, like on the lateral side, so posterior. But we'll go through that. I hope it makes sense. I think that's the easy way to understand. So we have the extensor copy or narrows, as we just said. So it extends the arm. So which side is it? So if it extends the arm, it doesn't flex it, so it has to be this side, because flexor muscles are this side, remember, because they're at the palm side. So extensor copy or nerve. So we already know the insertions and where is this muscle flowing through. So it extends, so this and it's by the ulna, which is this bone, the ulna, and then we have the radialis, the radius bone, and then we have our humerus, and then our scapula. So just a quick note, so we have an extensor copy ulnaris, so it's this muscle there, close to the ulna. We can't see from these angles, but hopefully it makes sense for you guys over there. And then next, 11, we have extensor digiti minimi. So this is easy to remember. It's the tiniest muscles in the upper limb. It's the smallest one. It's very tiny. I don't even see from here. There's it over here. It's hiding over here. The small muscle. So it extends the small pinky finger, so the mini finger, the small one. So the tendon goes through the pinky finger. That's how to remember that. And then we have an extensor digitorum. So it extends the digits. So the digits are phalanges, your fingers basically, not the thumb, just these our 4 fingers. So it extends those fingers. So if it is an extensor, it's not this side, it's on the other side. So which makes it to be this muscle. Also from the condyle of the humerus to, and then it splits to 4 tendons, and then it supplies to lift these digits. So it extends the digits. And then we have our flexors. So now we're not focusing on this side because these are flexor muscles. We have a flexor copy ulnaris. Let's look up ulnaris. So we know the ulna is on this side. So how to find this muscle? We need to look on this side, and then we need to look, if it says it's a flexor. We need to look from the palm side, and then we need to look more medial to the body, which it's this side, so it's some over here, and copy. So we already know the insertion. It inserts over here. It originates from the conda of the humerus, the medial epiconda of the humerus. This muscle over here. That's the copy ulnaris. Is it over here? Quite big. It's a copy ulnaris, and then there's it over here. You have that. And then we have let's get into it. We have the flexor digitorum. So digitorum, you can kind of remember if it has this digits, digiti minimi, digitorum, it supplies the digits. So we had an extensor for the digits. Now we need the flexor. There is our flexor digitorum. So it's not this side, so it's on this side. Sorry, that's on this side. So flexor digitorum is this muscle there at the center. Control now. And then it splits and supplies the digit. It's kind of small. This is this one over here. Also from the medial epiconda. And it supplies the digits. And then our second to last muscle, we have the flexor digitorum superficialis. This muscle over here. It's underneath the flexor digitorum. It's but then it's superficialis, so it's more superior, but it also flexes the digits, so it also splits over here and sends these tendons. So it's the one you see here because it's more superior. Sorry about that. And then last one for now, we have the flexor copy radialis. So we already know the insertions and where it passes through and what function. So flexor this side and radialis, so it's this muscle over here. Radialis, so here's the radius bone. So it flows over here to the carpal bones. Here's the muscle. And here's it over here. There's a copy radialis. So once you done like studying the origins and insertions, once you know where these muscles go through, you can now try to figure out the supination and the pronation, because let's just open a new layer. This is supination, which is a anatomical position, this one over here, and then this is pronation now. So pronation, what happens in pronation, it's when the radius turns around the ulna. So the ulna basically doesn't move, slightly doesn't move, and then it twists and then goes to the other side. So if it moves with the rest of the hand. So how to remember this, there's a very nice trick how to figure out where is the ulna. So the ulna always goes with the pinky finger. Let me just draw this like this. So if you see the pinky finger, you know which side is the ulna every time. And if you see your thumb, you know where's your radius bone. So right here, it's on the right hand side. So when the radius moves from the right hand side from the side to this side, you can kind of pick it up now, because it's this side, so here's our thumb, so the radius definitely is on this side, because we kind of tracked our thumb, because that's the very important rule you guys must know about supination and pronation. So just a quick recap: the pinky finger, the small finger, it's always with the radius. So if you wanna, with the owner. So if you wanna find the owner, you need to find where is the pinky finger. That's supination and pronation. And if you wanna find the radius bone, you just need to find the thumb. So it kind of works like that. That's the easiest way to understand the forearms. So before we move into ZBrush, let me just check the time. We have a few 30 minutes or so. Before we move into ZBrush and start sculpting, after you know all the muscles, so the humerus barely moves when this happens, this pronation. So we were just going through those muscles because why not? So lastly, what I wanna bring this to your attention, like so once you know like the origins and insertions, if like say for instance, okay, we have a muscle originating from the epicondyle, the medial epicondyle of the humerus, and it inserts at the radius. Okay, and then we'll call this muscle because it's on the palm side. What does the palm do? So you flex. So this is a flexor muscle, and it originates, inserts a radius. So passes to the radius. So it's a flexor copy, radialis. I would call it a copy, but then it's a flexor radialis. So if this radius twists and turns, in order for us to find, okay, this insertion is static, so what moved was the insertion, so the origin just stayed like that, but then so there was a twisting going on. So in order for you to track the muscles, you need to track the bone which has movement and which are the muscles that attach on that bone that has movement. That's how you track your muscle forms, if there's any pronation or supination. And the rest, like the rest, like goes with a lot of practice, like studying from reference, like doing a lot of dissections, like grab pictures online, just sketch over them, just figure out which muscles are popping out. That's the only way you guys will learn how to practice this, because it doesn't end like watching a course. It's all about practicing dissections and just looking at your arm. If you want to just tense it and stuff, just look at the muscle forms, how the muscles react. So once we know that, so we're quickly gonna jump into ZBrush and see what we can come up with. So I haven't prepped anything, but I've prepared something, not that much. So I'll surely try to attach these files with you guys, and so you guys probably can practice from these. I'm just gonna open up ZBrush. So this is all about practice. It's all about exercising So please don't ignore the muscles origin insertion. So this works for the entire body. Like if once you master this technique, once you figure out how's everything working out, it will kind of work out for the entire body. So the technique, it's pretty much the same. I'm just gonna drag ZBrush on our window, just scale this up a tad, and then I'll probably just show this Photoshop for now, and then let's just focus on so I have a file over here, so this is where I took the screenshots. Just gonna zoom that a tad, but basically you can see. So like doing these studies, like sculpting the, I'll probably provide a skeleton for you guys. I don't know how the files are gonna work out. So like doing the studies, it kind of helps you train your eye. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna open up. I'm just gonna close all of these. And then so we're gonna have this as like a reference, and then we applying that knowledge we just took from there, knowing the origins and insertions. You can have like your reference on the side, like your muscles, and just kind of practice how everything flows. I'm still thinking what I'm gonna do. Probably like let's do an insert mid. Probably his arm here, I'm not sure. Scrolling, and then just go to split. Let's split mask. Doesn't split. The hidden sorry, let me first delete hidden. There's a hidden geometry over here, but first of all let me delete hidden. So we're just gonna split mouse point. Yeah, now we can split it. Where's our arm now? So here's our arm. So I'm just going to close the skeleton. So what I'm going to do, so this is it's kind of pronating. See if I do small thing. Yeah. Just grab this, put it on this side, and control drag, click drag, and do a copy. And put a mirror this guy in here. Okay, cool. So we have like so I'm just gonna do a quick rotation. I'll click drag and just rotate this further, so that we might have like a basic supination and pronation. Nothing too precise, just gonna this up a tad. So I'm just gonna have it like that. Let's see. Pretty subtle. Okay, cool. Just close these guys, and then what was topology? I just want to delete it. Let's go to our normal arm, our supinated arm. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna so for us to have an understanding, I'm gonna kill the forms. I'm just gonna make it not too much, just basic like that, and then I'm gonna go to geometry, animation. Just gonna quickly up the resolution. Should work, right? Not bad. Very cool. So we never went through our deltoid, so I'm gonna grab the damage standard. Got deltoid muscle. Just isolate this guy. So what I know is, I know the bone underneath, so there's the humerus, and then now we want to find the radius and ulna for us to understand. So we know that the radius is always with the thumb, so we know the radius flows like so, something like this, and then the ulna is always with the pinky finger. Now this is our ulnar bone. So once I know what's going on, so I know my muscles, origin insertions, I'm going to start sketching. So I know my biceps inserts at the radius, so the tendon will flow this side. And if it's not flexing that much, so the muscle won't bulge out like you see on those superheroes, like over exaggerated, like what I normally do. So I'm just gonna build that, just gonna smooth that a tad. So we have our biceps. Underneath, we know we have the Radialis inserting at the ulna. Kind of come in and build that. Just coming in, building that, and then we have our. I'm just gonna fly quickly through these because we're losing time. So we over here, first block out the skeleton. So we have the, let's say this is our electron. Just smooth that out. This is our electron. These are our condyles. So let's open this up. This is the condyles and the electron at the back. Just gonna block that out. So I know the electron. I'm just gonna bring in my. So remember these, the palm facing muscles that lie on this side, the flexors. So I'm just gonna bring in the flexors. So we have the flexor copy ulnaris, ulnaris by the ulna. I'm just gonna fix the copy ulnaris. That's the digitorum superficialis, the one that supplies the digits. So this is just basic this is just basic sketching, studying the muscles. There's not like any detail going on. Superficialis and digitorum, and then our pronator teres over here, and then Radialis. Also, I have to emphasize because so the brachioradialis and the extensor copy, radialis trunks and brevis, kind of like merges up together on the skin. Sometimes you see the separation, but then in most cases it's just that. Our owner or radius. Basically what we were looking for was those forms. So I'm not gonna spend much time on the supinated side, which you guys have had an understanding of it. And then lastly we have our triceps breaker. Those three heads, what happened inserting at the olecranon over here. Just going to come in building up those forms ever so slightly. Not really paying much attention to detail. So when you're doing studies, it's very important to not focus on details, just focus on forms, like how's everything adding up. Just focus on those forms, trying to figure out, looking closer at your reference and studying the arm, knowing your origin and insertion in mind. Being just concerned about those underlying forms, so you can kind of have an idea now of what's happening. You can just come in and just move this because definitely not in place. So it kind of bulges out a little more at the back, but depends on the physique, on how the person is built. As you can see, there's nothing fancy going on. And there shall not be anything fancy. So once we like, okay, we know like supination and how everything works out. Now it's time to, so yeah, I'm not looking at any reference, by the way. I'm just trying to find this. Okay, so now the arm is supinated. Here's a trick. This diameters. So these muscles kind of stay the same, so you don't need to worry about these. It's just the forms. If someone was extending the arm, so like for example, if our character was picking up his arm, the bicep won't be just flat. So it's gonna be in action. It's gonna be like probably something like bulging out like this. Like when you see like people flexing, it kind of like turns a bit roundish. So if this is in action, the triceps is not in action. So it's vice versa. So when you extending the arm, when you extending the arm, the triceps is in action. So you must keep note of that. When you extend the arm, the triceps is in action, and when you flexing the arm, let me just isolate this. And when you flexing the arm, flexion happens this side. The bicep is in action, and this muscle is kind of relaxing. It's coming in, because we know the forms are kind of the same. There's no flexion or extension going on, so these muscles cannot bulge out as much unless, I don't know, a very intense bodybuilder. But then it's coming, building the biceps. Basically the same forms as the supinated arm, because there is no action going on at the humerus. Very, very rough. So I'm not being too precious about anything right now. Just gonna come on like that, and then just leave it like that. Nothing too fancy. And then here's the trick now. So we know there's our first muscle, the radialis. So it will kind of turn, it will kind of twist because it has to insert over here. So our first muscle, radialis. So I'm just gonna focus on those big ones. So it will turn. If it turns, all of them, like with these other ones, so there's gonna be a bulging out happening. So these muscles now, which come from the humerus to the radius, they're kind of twisting. All of these muscles, there's three of them. We focusing on these three for now. So there's three of them for now. It's the brachial radialis and the extensor copy, radialis longus, and the extensor copy, radialis brevis. So they kind of like bulging out here on top to twist. So when the twisting is happening, it's kind of flat here. So you just need to keep that in mind. And these ones from the, so we need to find the leptonon somewhere over here. So the not the leptonon, the epicondyle, the medial epicondyle somewhere over here. And here's our Radialis. Normally there's that way, and then so the ones that come from the medial epicondyle to the ulna, they kind of didn't move much, man. So it's basically almost the same forms as the, so there's no, they don't bulge out like these ones. So these ones you can even kind of get like these lines going on. If you look at realistic reference, like these lines that goes on over there. So this part like kind of bulges out even more than here. So the the Extensor Copy ulnaris. It's kind of the same forms as let's open this, as our supinated model. So it's knowing, so we coming to the end of our class nearly there. So just a quick recap, it's knowing, so we know that movement happens to the entire hand and to the radius. So the muscles that come from the radius, connected to the radius, or that are like kind of shorter and like inserting at the carpal bones, will be affected. So those muscles will be affected. So we just went through a few of them, but just a quick note, like most of them, if I can open the, it's going quickly over here. So you see over here, the brachial radialis inserts at the radius. So if the radius twist comes aside, this muscle will also twist, and then the twisting will cause tension over here on top, which will cause it to kind of bulge out, as we kind of emphasized over here. This will cause this kind of effect on the arm. So just keep note of that and just bear that in mind. And then if we go back to our model, we basically, it's looking at the muscles affected at the rotation, like this pronator teres as it inserts at the radius. So if it's flat like this, once the radius twists to come this side, this muscle will become shorter, so it will kind of bulge out a bit. So you can kind of emphasize, you can see over here, you can kind of like emphasize that tad, but it doesn't come up much because it's a very tiny muscles and it's kind of covered. Kind of emphasize that above the skin. Just doing a quick save on our model. So far I hope you guys are getting something out of this, and unfortunately we've come to the end of our class, and I believe if you give this more practice and do a lot of dissections, just following those principles and knowing the origins and insertions, and know which muscles are affected, which muscles are connected with the bone in motion. That's the trick right there. Just following the movement of the bones and following the origin and insertions, and figure out the forms. If it's squashing, if it causes like a lot of tensions, you can build those forms. Just look closely at the reference and study more. So yeah, thank you guys for your time, and I truly appreciate your interest in this. We hopefully surely we hoping to share even more anatomy tutorials, mainly in ZBrush. So basically this is for artists, whether you're sketching or you're sculpting, kind of works for both. It's just giving you guys quick tips and tricks to not struggle with the anatomy. So again, I'm Adrian from Mr. Anatomy, and I truly thank you for this time. So what I can advise is just keep on practicing, and I'll probably see you guys on the next one. So thank you very much for your time. Cheers.